Hi, Kris Gethin here, giving you the 2012 Olympia predictions. I've had a lot of people ask me what I predict is my top 10 of the 2012 Mr. Olympia, the men's category. So here's my top 10. I don't claim to be an expert. This is my personal view, my personal opinion. Starting at 10th place, I have Hide Yamagishi rounding out the top 10. The guy's very consistent. He's got great muscle bellies on a short guy, good symmetry. His legs, looking good after his injury that he suffered last year. He's had Neil Hill looking after his nutrition, Eric Delorio in Gold's Venice there looking after his training, and that consistency has been great for him. He took a little bit of time off after his injury last year. It's done him well. I think he'll bring a package that'll round out the top 10. Above him, I've got Cedric McMillan. The guy is a huge powerhouse. He came in shape in his last outing. The event before, not so much, so we could have a 50-50 here. If he comes up in shape, 9th place at the very minimum. If he's not, then he's going to be outside of the top 10. But the guy is really growing into himself. He's got a bright future ahead for a tall guy. He's got a great chest, great back. His legs are good. Just needs to bring up his delts a little bit. And more separation and definition, he's going to be on the money. Above him, I've got the 2008 Mr. Olympia, Dexter Jackson. We've only got two former Mr. Olympias in the show this year without Jay Cutler. We got Dexter, we got Phil Heath. Dexter, he has been falling down the categories, the placings as of late. However, he won his the Masters Pro last year. So, he shows us that he's still got it. So 8th place I see as a minimum for him if he shows up in shape as we come to expect from the blade. Above him I've got Sean Roden. Sean Roden shocked us several weeks ago by taking a win, but he's got he's got fantastic shape, fantastic lines. He is like a new age flex wheeler if he does grow into himself and continues to do so. The guy's got great legs, especially from the sides. And as long as he keeps packing on the mass at the rate that he's doing it, he's not blowing himself out and overgrowing his proportions and blowing out his lines, he will continue to move up well. And it's really good to see a lot of new faces come into the mix. And one of those faces, well, I say new because he's only had 5 previous pro outings, is Lionel Biecki from France. I got introduced to him maybe 4 or 5 years ago by Charles Glass, and Charles did predict then about 5 years ago that this guy was going to be a bright star, and he was right. Again, he has got great lines, very small waist, a thick back. He just needs to bring in a little bit more detail through the rear portions of his legs and continue putting on the size the way he has, and he's going to find himself in that top 6 at the Mr. Olympia, I believe. At 5th place, I've got Evan Centopani. As a minimum, the guy is huge. He comes in ripped. He's dialed in. The only thing that's holding him back is his structural flaws. He doesn't have the flaring lats. They do taper down right into his waist. They're very straight. They don't look very thick. And he is a little bit flat from the sides, especially throughout the chest. He's a big guy. He's got long limbs to fill out, and it's a big ask. He has filled out his frame exceptionally well, but there are areas that he needs to continue to fill out if he wants to improve the symmetry and the overall flow of his shape, because he does have quite a blocky waist. So above him I've got the 270-pound Dennis Wolf. So that's a guy again that's tall, that does hold a lot of mass. However, he just doesn't have the definition and the separation throughout his lower body, more so throughout the back. His glutes, his hamstrings, they don't show the definition and the lines that, if he stood next to Branch Warren, that is definitely exposed. And obviously his calves have never really been a strong point, so that's something that does hold him down. But what he does have is a great little narrow waist, flaring lats, huge wide shoulders, good arms, and I think that'll take him into the top 4th position. Above him I've got Kai Green, simply for the fact that Guy is a mass monster. He does bring shape or definition, I'd say, to the stage, especially if he's gonna, he's taken time off this year. He hasn't competed since the Olympia last year, and that 3rd place automatically qualified him for this year's event. The only thing that's going to be holding him back is that, you know, he's got very low insertions when it comes to like his lats, for instance, which does make him look a little bit blocky from the rear, from the front. His weight, you know, he does have to look after his waist. I don't think he can get any bigger than he already has, so he's going to pretty much bring the same sort of package as what he did last year and get rewarded the same, which will be 3rd place. Above him, who was that wasn't in the show last year, was Branch Warren. I have him in 2nd place, purely for the fact that the guy's an animal. He's hungry. He really wants his title bad. He doesn't want the Arnold, he's got that, but he wants the Olympia. That's what he's in his sport for. And he's not going to stop until he gets it. So you can guarantee that he's going to bring in the best package that we've ever seen. You know, he destroyed all the naysayers last year when he said that you know, he was going to come back and win the Arnold Classic after his leg injury last year. He did that. He destroyed all those naysayers. And I believe he'll do that again with at least a 2nd place finish. The only person that's stopping him from getting that 1st place is Phil Heath, who I have winning the show, because the guy is absolutely flawless. People say that he's narrow. I don't think so much. You know, his clavicles are narrow, but the amount of mass that he carries on his delts and his shoulders and now his lats destroy those assertions. You know, the guy has beautiful muscle bellies. He's full, very crisp, defined, and from the back, you know, he's flawless. And unfortunately, that's where Branch's flaw is. You know, Branch will bring it from every other angle other than the back. You know, he does have a good back, but it's not great, and unfortunately he has to now completely knock out the Mr. Olympia if he has a chance of taking that. I would love more, you know, nothing more than Branch Warren to, you know, to take that, because that would be quite a story, but Phil Heath, I believe, is just too dominant for this field, and I see him as the 2012 Mr. Olympia, so I'll see you there.